Today we're going to be talking about the Balanced Lifestyle Nutrition Pyramid. I created this pyramid because most people, they know how to burn fat or go through a certain 8-week challenge or something like that, but they don't know how to just live regular life between doing those things. It's either they're in it or they're out of it. So this Balanced Lifestyle Nutrition Pyramid is for longevity. So this can be applied to the rest of your entire life. This isn't something that you apply just for a short-term thing. So there are other pyramids that I'm going to be going over later in the course, the fat loss phase one and also the muscle building, but everything comes back to the Balanced Lifestyle Nutrition Pyramid. So you can sustain that progress that you've made during the muscle building phases and fat loss phases, and just by developing a stronger nutrition foundation through this pyramid, you're going to be 100% confident with your nutrition for the rest of your life, and you will not feel off track. I have not felt off track for the last 5 years because I account for the unhealthy things, and this pyramid has allowed for that. So let's get into it. The sustainability and adherence. It all starts with that. So some things I want you to ask yourself are, what are some of your favorite foods and drinks, and how will you incorporate them? Because if you feel like you shouldn't have anything or can't have something, it's not going to be a sustainable approach. So that's why I made Busch Light and beer a big part of my brand, because I used to demonize alcohol extremely bad, and when I would consume it, I'd feel guilty, and then I'd overdo it, or it would also impact my other nutrition decisions. Another question you could ask is, how many meals and snacks do you prefer a day? Everyone is different. Some people like to have 6 smaller meals. Some people like to have 2 large meals. Whatever floats your boat, and it could change throughout time as well. And also, what simple strategies can make nutrition easier on you? Whether it is planning your meals for the upcoming week, or making a grocery list, having something on the calendar or on the fridge. Do you like to intermittent fast? Do you like to have your first meal at lunchtime? What do you prefer? Don't base your nutrition off of somebody else. I have my ways, and I'm not going to tell a client they need to do it how I do it, because this is not a one size fits all thing. And that's why I love nutrition so much, because we each can make it our own. And if you're considering to start a certain diet or approach to nutrition that you know for a fact you do not want to do it for the rest of your life, it's going to be very difficult to come out of that phase and be confident in how to approach nutrition. Because if you're restricting certain things during that phase where you do see progress, and then you come back and consume those, you're just going to assume that you can't have those things, and you're going to lose all that progress. So it's super important to incorporate all the things that you know you're going to be having in the future. So if you're going to be having beer, have it. If you're big into sweets, don't do keto. Sweets are absolutely allowed, obviously, in moderation. So things to think about there. Sustainability and adherence, number 1. The second part of the pyramid is self-awareness. This is developed over time, and the first step in developing this is taking ownership in every decision that we do make. It's easy to point fingers at certain occasions that might not have the best nutrition, but at the same time, if that's all that's available, how can you make the best of it? And also look at certain occasions or moments in time that don't go well, and learn from them and apply them into the future. Apply what you learned into the future. So some things I want you guys to really think about with self-awareness is, one decision does not have to impact the next. How are you planning ahead and setting yourself up for as much success as possible? And also, what foods do you have in your house? the red, yellow, and green foods list. This is super important and I'm gonna post it below. So green light foods are foods I like, foods that digest well, foods that support my goals, and foods I can eat moderately and sanely. Yellow light foods are foods I can somewhat tolerate, foods I can digest okay sometimes, foods that I can eat in some situations, foods that I can eat a little of. And red light foods, foods I dislike, foods I don't digest or tolerate well, foods that don't support my goals, and foods I can't eat moderately and sanely. So an example for me is a red light food, a food that I can eat moderately and sanely, is chips. Like chips, I never have them in my house because it never turns out well. They aren't off limits, I know that for a fact, but just by having them in my house and available on an everyday basis, it's setting myself up for failure. And the last thing to think about for self-awareness is catching yourself when you become too balanced or when you give yourself a little too much freedom. Like, yes, we need to give ourselves some freedom to actually live and all that, but on occasions, there will be occasions where you'll just notice that you're not applying what you know. Like, you know you could be doing better. So it's always good to have that self-awareness and to have the discipline to crack down on yourself. So that's self-awareness. The third part of the pyramid is whole foods. And this does not mean that we need all of our food to be whole single ingredient foods. If that's a sustainable approach for you, yes, if you know you can do that for the rest of your life, go for it. But I've found that 80% of your groceries on average is a good goal to shoot for. And then having 20% of your groceries or foods that you consume as whatever you feel like, whatever you really enjoy, because nutrition and food needs to be enjoyed. If you're a foodie, you need to live your life. Whole foods make that a big foundation of your nutrition. Now we move up the pyramid to fiber and nutrients. I think we all have a pretty good idea of what this consists of, but I will be going a little bit further in depth on this topic later on. And then protein. Protein is super important, and I'll also be going further in depth on this in a future video, the macronutrients video. So it's important for absolutely everyone. And one of the things that is not talked about enough is that it becomes more important as we get older. So I'll leave it at that for now, but look forward to the macronutrients video. And the top of the pyramid is supplements. Most people, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of people start their healthy journey with supplements. They think that needs to be the foundation. They'll go to supplements prior to having a quality, nutritious diet. That is not the best approach for it. What supplements should do is supplement the way you eat. They shouldn't be relied upon. They should make your nutrition more convenient and also fill voids within your nutrition. So greens and reds, for example, those aren't required. But if you're not the best at getting in your fruits and veggies, those are a great supplement to add in to ensure that you get a ton of nutrients. And also protein powder, since hitting a protein goal can be very tough, having a protein powder makes that a million times easier. So that's one I really recommend is protein powder, reds, greens, multivitamin, maybe a fish oil depending on if you need it, and protein powder. I think, is that all of it? Creatine's another good one too. So I'll go further in depth on that when we get into the separate categories of building muscle and fat loss. So this is the pyramid for lifestyle. This is applied to every single day life. And later on in this course, I will break it down into the fat loss and muscle building, but it'll always come back to your foundation of the balanced lifestyle pyramid. So that is the pyramid. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned a little bit something, but we'll dive deeper into this in the next video.